What is positive psychology anyway? Part 1. You see it referenced in my posts, you hear it in my podcasts, and yet you may wonder if you really know what it is at all. So today, I will explain it in this part 1. What is positive psychology, where the focus will be on gaining a view into the world of how to use it to your advantage. When I finished my doctorate in psychology, I was unclear which direction I wanted to go or what I wanted to do with what I learned. After an early career in mental health, I knew there was more that I wanted to learn, and I felt like there was something more than just finding out why people did certain things in certain ways. Truthfully, it seemed boring to me. Session after session, rehashing what we covered the last time and indulging in any and all the bad feelings that we were experiencing when the event occurred. It worked as a method because that's how I was trained, but I was never comfortable with it. If you want to know what my motivation for feeling that way was, good, I'll tell you. I grew up in a rather challenging environment, and I experienced a lot of situations that not only ended many people's lives, but ruined a lot more. And by no fortitude of my own, but because of curiosity, mentoring, true friendships that have lasted more than 40 years, and a lot of bad experiences to learn from, I gotta say that I've lived pretty well, generally healthy, and I've been quite satisfied with all of my career choices and outcomes. However, during much of the trauma in my earlier days, the psychology sessions that I attended, they never helped me at all. As a professional, that definitely is something that I swore I would never do to anyone that I worked with. That was my motivation to look for something else. Before positive psychology arrived on my radar, I learned how to help people using a rapid change method called neurolinguistic programming. Now, I'll give that practice its own stage in part 2. Positive psychology was it for me because it explained how people could go through incredible and tragic loss, like life-threatening events, some violent, traumatic, and incredibly challenging. And by every standard or every measure, they thrived, in spite of what seemed like multiple life tornadoes. The details to me were fascinating, and combining them with other techniques allowed me to easily reach not only my personal goals, but allowed me to share those techniques with others so that you get to your goals in life more rapidly and with greater ease mentally. So, what is positive psychology? Before I give you like super formal theory, allow me to give you my take. Positive psychology is based on the notion that successful people, they experience the same calamities in life and they thrive. In the same way that traditional psychology asks why, positive psychology is very interested in how these people do that. Now, from a technical perspective, perhaps, and using a refined way of listening and illuminating people's blind spots, you get to see not only your resources, but you get to see your capabilities. And you also get to see the strategies used by others as a way to move past your own mental barriers. It doesn't matter whether it's a fear or, the stuff that gets us stuck. In some cases, it might be a phobia. People have issues with public speaking or leaving their comfort zone. For others, it's like they can't get past a certain loss that they might have had, or they worry about things that might be upcoming. Whatever it is, where others have been successful, there's a DNA trail that if you follow it, yields the same results, success. So that's the basis of positive psychology. Not very difficult to understand, but it's powerful for those of us who study these DNA strands and uncover the resources that we all possess so that you get to excel at whatever you decide to pursue. In part 2, I'm going to share with you some of the specific techniques that undergird positive psychology and share more on why you should be more aware of some of the hypnotic language patterns being used to influence you. Now, understanding neurolinguistic programming that I spoke about earlier and a couple of simple truths about hypnosis will illuminate you to a whole new understanding of the world around you. I encourage you to stay tuned for part 2.